Gaurav Bhatia first. I want to get a sense from you. All this confusion over the State Bank of India being virtually forced eventually by the Supreme Court to put out electoral bond data and give it to the Election Commission. Now the ball in the Election Commission's court. People seem to be apprehensive whether the Election Commission is playing the role of a neutral umpire, or at least that's how the opposition sees it. How do you respond?
Rajiv, I would say that the opposition today is intellectually bankrupt and corrupt both. And I'll tell you the reason. They don't believe in the Supreme Court of India. They have no faith in the Election Commission of India. They have no faith in the EVMs. They have no faith in any constitutional body that is operational. Even investigating agencies like the ED and CBI, they don't trust. The point is that under the leadership of Narendra Modi ji, all constitutional and statutory bodies have been given a free hand. They are autonomous and they're doing their job. When you can't win elections, you end up blaming these agencies. And let me just say that since you're talking about the Election Commission of India, this is how they have misused and abused the Election Commission of India. In 2014, when the general elections were on, Narendra Modi ji was asked by the Election Commission of India, most likely under the diktat of Sonia Gandhi and the Gandhi Parivar, not to do a rally in Varanasi. Then let us talk about Mr. Naveen Chawla, who was appointed as the Election Commissioner of India, Chief Election Commissioner, when his only credential was that he was close to the Gandhi Parivar, and the then Chief Election Commissioner, Gopalaswamy, had put in a report that he be sacked, but the government refused to. Then let's talk about MS Gill. MS Gill was an election commissioner, Chief Election Commissioner. He was given a Rajya Sabha ticket and then also made a minister in the UPA government. So these people today are casting aspersion on the constitutional bodies without an iota of evidence. And it can't be taken. Okay. It has to be rebutted. And that is why I'm sitting here.
Okay. You heard that Adil Singh Bopra. I saw you smiling when Gaurav Bhatia said that all institutions are autonomous under Prime Minister Modi. But as Gaurav Bhatia is pointing out, please give evidence. When you say that the Election Commission's credibility is to be questioned, you're not sure about whether they are a neutral umpire, you'll have to give hard evidence.
Mr. Sarjasai, firstly, what we're witnessing in this country today is an institutional collapse. And the State Bank of India is the latest entrant which has fallen prey to the BJP's strong arm tactics. Despite the information being readily available at the Mumbai branch, they file a frivolous application which has been rightfully dismissed by the Supreme Court of this country. Having said this, coming to your question, do I need to remind my very erudite friend about Mr. Ashok Lavasa, how he gave a dissenting note and how he unceremoniously was forced to resign?
That's the former election commissioner for our viewers in 2019.
Does that not speak volumes about the BJP's strong arm machinations? Now take the case of Mr. Arun Goyal. Right on the eve of the elections, at the 11th hour, you have the second election commissioner resigning. Today, there is a single member who is expected to run the election process of the largest democracy of the world. So therefore, these are very legitimate questions which ought to be answered. Number 3, the Supreme Court has very categorically said that transparency is the bedrock of any democracy. The Modi government comes out with a fraudulent scheme called the Electoral Bonds scheme. They try to conceal, stonewall, digress, delay information on some pretext or the other. They do a volte-face before the Supreme Court at every available step. And even now, they left no stone unturned because the country deserves to know who has funded whom and what is the quid pro quo. This is the same Modi government which in the run-up to the 2014 elections had promised the country that we'll bring money from the Swiss banks and divulge all that to the country. And today we talk about digital India, and they can't divulge information which is maintained at their Mumbai branch.
I
Information which is
presume
available
though,
in
Adil,
KYC format.
no, no, I presume though, Adil Singh Boparai, the Congress party has no problem with information being disclosed about bonds that you have also encashed. Am I correct?
Absolutely not. We have no compunction. But the fact of the matter is, over 70% of these bonds have been redeemed by the BJP. The BJP cleared a scheme for unlimited political funding by corporates, and obviously once the information is out and the lid comes off the scam, we will get to know what is the extent and the magnitude of this quid pro quo. Should not Mr. Sardesai know which political party has been funded by the corporates?
No, no, but the fact is
I don't know that
that, just a minute, Mr. Boparai, for our viewers, remember,
Can I
the
respond?
Election Commission will not be matching which bond goes to which political party. The Supreme Court has not put that condition. So whether the quid pro quo will be proven is a question mark. But Gaurav Bhatia, you heard Adil Singh Boparai saying the suspicion is, the perception is that the BJP has something to hide. The BJP was not keen that these electoral bonds be made public. And according to Mr. Boparai, the State Bank of India, in a sense, was also part of this to somehow or the other stonewall the disclosure of these bonds.
The courts and the citizenry does not work through the perceptions that are created by the opposition to mislead the citizens. The citizens are smart. And let me now dispel every argument made because it is more of whataboutery and nothing else. First of all, I am not a spokesperson for the SBI. SBI is an autonomous body, and the SBI Council was appearing before the Honorable Supreme Court of India. But as a lawyer, it's my duty to raise an argument. Every entity has the right to file an IA or a modification application for the modification of the judgment of the Supreme Court. The SBI availed of that remedy, Radhi. They wanted an extension. The Supreme Court refused. And I think such was the reverence that SBI had for the Honorable Supreme Court of India. Your channel was showing now they have submitted the details. So I don't think there was anything wrong. But
So
let
they've
me
submitted
bust the
details,
myth
sir,
that
with due
BJP
regard, they have
has
submitted
benefited from
details
the
virtually
electoral
after
rolls.
a diktat from the Supreme Court. Earlier, they wanted the deadline to be extended to June 30th. Now, once the Supreme Court acted, they've been forced to give the details by Friday, sir.
See, Rajdeep, I tell you every time I appear on your program, you have no knowledge of law and yet you argue. And you shouldn't be doing that.
Sorry, sir.
As I told you very
Sorry,
clearly,
sir. Sir, you
case
cannot
that was
quite.
filed.
I have also knowledge of
Please,
law. You're free to.
bear with me.
You're free to dismiss me and say that I have no knowledge of law, but I have also a degree from Oxford, which I didn't want to say on the program, which is one of the highest law degrees. But go ahead.
So did they teach you to interrupt a panelist while he's making his arguments midway in Oxford? You're bringing quite a disrepute
So that's
to
not
the
law.
institution where you have studied, Rajdeep.
Okay, go ahead now. Go ahead.
No, that's also not a trait of a person who argues well.
Okay.
So let me make my points. I think I will make them.
Please go ahead.
So the judgment of the Supreme Court that has been delivered and the subsequent order says that no, we will not initiate contempt proceedings. And the SBI has now complied with the order. But having said that, there are very important points to be made. One is the ruling party, even when it was the Congress from 2004 to 2014, was getting majority of the donations, Rajdeep. The amount was 2,350 crores. Compare this with the BJP donation. It was around 1,100 crores. Not even half of what the Congress was getting. Now from the electoral bonds, Rajdeep, I want to tell you Congress has also got around 952 crores. Later which swelled up to 1,150 crores. TMC 768 crore because it is the ruling party in West Bengal. And DMK 431 crore. If you add up all the parties of the India Alliance, they've got 2,252 crore. Will they return that money? Why are they getting it where they are ruling the states? That's a question to be asked. Now coming to the next point. When my young friend says institutional collapse, let me tell you that Congress is the party which has abused and misused their ruling dispensation the most when it comes to constitutional bodies, like Election Commission of India. M.S. Gill made a minister. Naveen Chawla appointed CAC after Gopal Swamiji's, objections and report.
Yes.
Second, RBI governor twice resigned. Do you know when? Under the Congress governments in 1957 and 1975. CVC. Do you know Supreme Court quashed the appointment of the CVC, Mr. K.V. Thomas, during the Congress government? Now the judiciary. Only 2 instances in the history of a free India where the junior judge has superseded the senior judge to be made the Chief Justice of India by Indira Gandhi. What does it say?
Sir, but
CBI
because
was
they
called a
didn't,
caged
sir.
parrot by the Honorable Supreme Court of India. And this Congress party talks about institutional collapse. I have cited 5 different constitutional and statutory bodies abused, pressurized by the Congress for their electoral gains.